We're celebrating the African child, right? The It's a Rap crew spoke to some of them.
It's such a privilege to be an African child, just to know that people like Hector Peterson died for my rights and all that. I'm living in a free Namibia, enjoying all my rights.
I might just become the next president and help us future Africans.
Happy African Child's Day!
Being an African child has been such a big experience for me because no one has the advantages that we have in our country.
Our Africa is full with the greenest natural features, and it has the beautiful mountains and everything.
It's just great being an African, and I think people should respect being an African. Be proud of where you come from.
Be proud of your nation.
One Africa, one nation.
We also spoke to RDP member and social activist Monica Nambelela about the state of the nation's children.
Our leaders are focusing on the moment instead of investing on the future. If you look, no matter where you are in Africa, the presidential palaces are always bigger than the educational institutions. We need more vocational training, and we need a democratic setup so that we can do all we can to protect the African child, because the African child is vulnerable to poverty. The African child is vulnerable to disease, is vulnerable to diseases, and the African child is more likely to get married at a young age and not reach her fullest potential.
Nampal Commissioner Edwin Kangwachivi also shared his sentiments on how we should treat our children.
When you are a parent, you also have a responsibility to look after your minor children. Now what you hear is that a minor was left in the care of a cattle herder from one of our neighboring country. He raped the child and then he absconded, crossing the border into another country, which is difficult to actually apprehend and bring that person to book. So we as parents, at some another point, we have to be called to order and be accountable for our actions, because that is also, apart from the criminal act of rape, the parents should also be charged with neglect, or the act of child drowning in a tombo jar. If you know you have a 3-year-old toddler who has the possibility of falling into this bucket, why don't you seal the bucket with a lid that she cannot, or he or she cannot open? So somehow, somebody at some point would probably be charged with child neglect.
Last week, we reported on Marshal Ranger Sean Nodier, who expressed his disappointment in the way that the Ministry of Gender Equality and Child Welfare dealt with the removal of his daughter, Jessie Moonchild, from his home on a Friday night following allegations of abuse. We bring you the latest update.
I'm sitting here right now with some of the street kids I've been working with. Me and Jessie Moonchild have been working with for over a year. And they have no accommodation, they have no facilities, they have no soap, they have no food, they have no clothes, okay? But yet, they can find it good enough to come and take away Jessie Moonchild, who has a home, who has food, she has a loving place. And when I went to the Woman and Child Center in Karatura to give off some clothing for my daughter, they actually turned around to me and said, no, the Ministry of Gender and Gender-Based Quality and Child Welfare has to deal with these kids. But my child has been taken care of by a privately funded NGO social workers, yet the complaints or allegations against me were given to the Ministry of Gender Equality and Child Welfare, which then subcontracted sort of, or gave it over to these NGO private social workers, and my daughter is given private accommodation, or they have like these non-profit places where it's called safe houses apparently, and she obviously, because she only left in her pajamas, is getting food, she's getting clothing, she's getting everything given to her and schooling and everything. But these poor children, who I've been appealing to the government for years now. Actually, I've been working for 17 years with street kids. I get told, no, the ministry must deal with them. Today is the day of the African child, okay? And these are African children, and even though my daughter is a Caucasian child, she is also an African child, born in Namibia. But I want to ask, why is there a discrimination between my child who's white, okay, and these children that are non-whites. This is an unfair treatment, and why are the private institutions and NGOs not assisting these children?